Breaking Baldoni news. Justin Baldoni is now being sued by the New York Times. We have Keith Urban, who seems to have a new girlfriend that he's flirting with on stage. What? We have a little Dancing with the Stars drama surrounding Whitney Leavitt from The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Cardi B is in a fight with Nicki Minaj all over again, and people are trying to cancel Netflix. What in the coconut tree is going on? I hope you're ready for it. Let's dive in. This is No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, serve fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. And dive in we shall. What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Everybody in the club. In the club. In the club. Hi, Sydney. Hi, Munchie. Hi, Christina. Shout out to the mods, Laura and Christina. Shout out, Laura and Christina. Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Kenzie says, I'm dying to hear what started the Nicki and Cardi B fight. The tweets are crazy. I started reading through some of the tweets, and then I figured, you know what? I'm going to read them live because my reactions were very raw, and I was like, ooh, what? So, crazy. Drop a comment below if you've been enjoying the show. You listen on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. You can comment, you can leave a review. Let's do a quick review shout out as people come on into the live, and then we'll dive into all the tea. My mouth is little by little slowly healing. I don't know if there are any dentists or like dental assistants out there. But so I had my tooth removed, and they also put a bunch of bone graft in there, and they like did the little sewy thingies to keep it all intact. I think the blood clot has like formed, so it's all kind of staying there. But the more I talk, the more I notice like little snippets, little bits of the bone graft, I guess, are coming out. I don't know if that's normal, but I'm trying. If anybody works in the dental field and can give me advice on getting a molar extracted with a bone graft fill with the intention of getting an implant in a couple of months, give me all your thoughts, advice. I'm open to all of it. I don't have dry socket. No, Kyla, I do not have dry socket. Thank God I don't have dry socket because I hear that's like uncomfortable and very painful. But it's just a little sore. And it's usually when I talk a lot, which, by the way, Donna and Stu have both had me come on their shows this week. And I'm like, do you guys not realize how challenging it is for me to just get through my show? But of course, I'm never going to say no to my friends. So I taped both Donna's show and Stu's show, but they don't realize how challenging it is to talk because of how sore my mouth is. And not only that, but when you're missing I had my wisdom teeth removed years ago, all 4 of them years ago. But there was a molar that was impacting one of my other molars. And so that had to be removed. And what was the point I was trying to make with this? Oh, that it's also challenging to talk because when you're missing one of your back teeth that you're normally used to like talking with, it it becomes challenging. But yeah, I know I felt bad because I was on Stu's show and I'm like, Stu, I'm trying my best. Tanya says, my daughter had a bone graft done on top of teeth in her sinus cavity, fell into it and pushed it out, and they had to reinsert it again. You're luckier. You'll be luckier. I'm sure. Okay, well, let's not put that into the universe. Yes, it changes your whole bite. Yeah, that's why it changes your whole bite. And then when the implant gets put in, it's going to change my whole bite again. Zack, it's normal for shards of teeth to come out, but I don't know about with bone graft. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had this before. But yeah, it changes your whole bite. Zack, please. I was refreshing my browser, and the special price hasn't come back since the morning of September. It should be on right now, guys. I checked this morning. If you go to sign up on Supercast for No Filter All Access, try it right now. The link is in the description below. Try it, and it should actually. I'm going to do it for you, and let's just see. Let's see if this works. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, you guys are right. It is not. It is not up there. That's so strange. Hold on. I'm pretty sure there is just a quick little, swoop de doop doop that needs to be done, and then it'll be fixed. I'm not sure, but you're right. I mean, listen, guys, I did give you until September 30th to make it happen. You guys did know this. I did tell you. Then you hold on. I remember I fixed it last time. Yep, extend it until October 3rd. Okay, update promotion. Okay, because I can do it on my end. I want to contact the team. It's active. Let's see. Did that work? It worked. Okay, the promotion's there now. It's live until October 3rd. So you have until tomorrow, which is Friday, October 3rd. Get it done today, please. Get it done today. You have until October 3rd, but just get it done right now. Get her done. Is there a link to Zach's appearance with Chef Stu? It didn't come up on my feed. Yes. But yeah, if you want to sign up for No Filter All Access, you can go to nofilterwithzach.com or allaccess.supercast.com. Both links work. Just type it in No Filter with Zack, ZACK.com. It's on Herd at Media. They have a YouTube channel. It's also on my Instagram story that I posted. There's a link there. So you can go to the Herd at Media channel on YouTube and you can watch it there, or the podcast is called Don't Let It Stew. So you can also search Don't Let It Stew, STU, on Apple or on YouTube. You can listen to me there, but I do. Is Blake Lively your dentist getting the never with teeth? Oh my God, that's hilarious. I can't believe nobody has made that joke before, Michelle. I can't believe I didn't come up with that joke or think of that joke. Let's do a quick Apple Podcast review shout out. And then I don't think we got any nice reviews, to be honest. This one comes from Yep Okay. Yep Okay says, MAGA yuck. 1 star. Zack is a self-hating MAGA gay. Needs to grow up. Hates himself. Wow, I didn't know I hated myself. I mean, I don't think that I made a smart or wise decision to get, a tattoo and to get my tooth removed in the same week. But you know what? I actually think it was a smart decision because then I only have 1 week of aches and pains together rather than doing it in separate weeks. So there you go. But okay, thank you for letting me know that I'm a self-hating MAGA gay. I didn't realize I was a MAGA gay, and I didn't realize I hated myself. I wake up every day with love in my heart, so much so to the point that I don't go on other people's shows and leave nasty reviews. But if this is what hate in my heart looks like for myself, then don't hate yourself. And then Lindsay Day says, "Get off the soapbox." A 1 star. Wow. Thank you guys so much for the love. Get off the soapbox. She said, I don't mind when Zack goes into his feelings and makes a stand for something he believes in. But lately, it's all he ever does. But you just said you don't mind it. Okay. Sounds like you do mind it, Lindsay. It's exhausting to listen to. Maybe time to rebrand the show. What am I going to rebrand No Filter with Zack Peter to? It's literally called No Filter with Zack Peter. What would you like me to do? Filtered with Zack Peter to only opinions that Lindsay likes? A little confused there, Lindsay, but thank you. She said maybe it's time to rebrand the show. Lighthearted gossip and celebrity news. It is not. And good for him for going in that direction if that's where his passion is at. 1 star. It tells me to get off my soapbox. It tells me I'm exhausting to listen to, but says good for me if that's where my passion is at. Oh boy, if only I allowed these comments to actually get to me, then I would really be a self-hating MAGA gay. Thank you for the love in the club. The lurve in the club. All right. Well, that said, Zack never tuned in live. You were hilarious. Thank you for calling out. Thank you, Ashley BTV, behind the headlines. Okay. Let's bring up this breaking Baldoni news. So the New York Times is now suing Justin Baldoni's production company for damages since his defamation case got dropped. They're seeking compensatory and punitive damages related to the lawsuit. Interessante. So as we know, he tried to sue the New York Times for defamation. They were dismissed for the press privileges. And so now they want their costs associated with the case getting dismissed. So they filed in New York. I believe they filed this week. His attorney, Brian Friedman, clapped back and said, "We continue to stand tall for a reason, the pursuit of the truth in the face of giants." I don't know, Brian Friedman. That doesn't sound very confident. That sounds like we're gonna try to have to settle this. But so I guess they're citing the New York's anti-slap laws, and they're claiming that they want compensatory and punitive damages against plaintiffs who, like Wayfair, commence and continue meritless legal claims for the purpose of harassing, intimidating, punishing, or otherwise maliciously inhibiting the free exercise of speech, per the complaint, which claimed that the New York Times their legal costs were at least 150,000. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Brian Friedman said to People magazine, "Win, lose, or draw, we refuse to cave to power brokers, even in the face of seemingly impossible odds. We continue to stand tall for one reason, the pursuit of truth in the face of giants. Our unwillingness to compromise our values, no matter the odds or the outcome, reflects a simple conviction that standing up for the truth and what matters and what's right matters. If the current laws protect legacy media in this manner, perhaps it's up to us to ignite that change." I agree. I stand with Friedman in this. No, I actually, you know what? I know this is before the 15. I'm going to reserve it. Okay. We have 4 minutes before the 15-minute mark, and I'm going to reserve it because I have a little Zactivated pop off to go on about the effing New York Times, because I really want to say, F the New York Times. You guys are such BS legacy media that nobody wants to hear or see anymore because you guys lie. And when you don't lie, you twist the truth in the narrative that you want people to believe. And it's effing BS. I'm trying to not curse. It is such effing BS because you guys are so full of your self-righteous BS, and I'm sick and effing tired of it. Okay? I don't know why anybody takes you seriously anymore. You guys are literally such a joke. I'm glad the effing president wants to sue the shit out of you media legacy agencies, because all you do is lie and deceive the American people, and then you get everybody fired up online with your shit, sorry. Trying to not get any more bone graft to pop out. With all your BS, that your rage bait is all you publish these days. Narrative, media, propaganda rage bait is what you publish. And when you publish that crap, you get people fired up to the point where they go out there and kill somebody like Charlie Kirk because they feel like they're doing justice. Note to self, do not have dental surgery when you want to have a pop off, because it's very challenging to do. That's my message. F the New York Times. Literally go F yourselves and take your BS newspaper and shove it right up your self-righteous asses. This is such bullshit. They want to say that the Wayfair parties are the ones that are filing this lawsuit to harass, intimidate, punish, or otherwise maliciously inhibit free speech. Please. You guys are a literal joke. Literal joke. Yeah, Tiffany says, F the New York Times. Exactly. Huh. Sorry, I was trying really hard. And okay, this is not going to be my week for a pop off. I need to get through the next 2 weeks and hopefully keep my bone graft still intact. And I'm trying to not. They say don't spit, don't drink out of a straw, don't suck dick, and all that to keep the blood clot still in the hole. But like, they don't tell you you're not allowed to pop off. They say you can talk again, but they don't realize I talk for a living, and I get a little fired up. And sometimes when I get fired up, you know, Robin said that's normal with the bone graft thingy. That's what I thought, Robin, because my dentist said that they put the bone graft in and then they're going to check it. So I have a follow-up appointment in 2 weeks, and then we do the implant come, I believe, January. Until January. So come January is when they'll finally put the implant in. And once they do that, they'll see how much of the bone graft, I guess, lasts and see if they needed to put more bone graft and yada, yada, yada. So, Kelly said, LOL, my dentist didn't say don't suck dick. Neither did mine, but I specifically asked. They were going through the thing and they're like, don't spit, don't suck out of a straw, don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, so don't suck dick. And he's like, come again? And I, with, in my drunken laughing gas haze, I was like, and my sore mouth, I was like, "So don't suck dick." And then he laughed and he's like, "Yes, let's certainly not suck dick for a few days." And then I was like, "Well, good thing I don't like sucking dick." And then him and the dental assistant started laughing. And I was like, "Okay, I got a chuckle out of it." It made them laugh, which made my day. You specifically asked. Yes, I specifically asked. Well, I didn't specifically ask, but I said, "So no sucking dick." And then he's like, "Yeah, let's not do that for a few days." And then he was like, "I've never heard that one before." He's like, "Maybe I should add that to my list of instructions." Well, because it's a very fair statement. Like they talk about drinking, you're not like, do not drink out of a straw. That's like the most important one. But then they say, don't spit, um, don't blow your nose too hard. I was gonna sneeze this morning. I was like, no, don't sneeze, don't sneeze. What else? But I was like it. Oh, don't smoke. But the interesting thing is, you're not supposed to smoke for like 4 to 8 hours after surgery. And I was like, so you can smoke like you know you can smoke a little after surgery? Like, isn't that kind of like you can't drink out of a straw, but you can smoke? Couldn't that also like I don't know, that's so weird. But yeah. Elena said, then they went home and said, "You'll never guess what a patient asked me today." It's a valid question, though. Not only that, like my two questions were about, I can do without a straw. I drink out of a straw every day, but they said no coffee. So I was like, well, if I can't drink coffee, then I guess I can't use the straw. Like that was a double whammy. That was really hard for me. No coffee, no alcohol, no drinking out of a straw, no solid foods. Like the first 48 hours were hell. But I was like, but making out, like, obviously, like, I can't make out. Like, I'm great at making out. I do all the things that I make out, like I love to make out. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, when can I make out again? Like, that's my question. I don't even care about the sucking dick part. I care about the making out part, which I did not ask. But I thought about it afterwards on my way home. I was like, what? I have a date this weekend. I'm not allowed to make out. Like, when am I allowed to make out again? Because like the last thing you want to do is be, like, on a date, and then you're making out with somebody, and the next thing you know, you have bone graft and blood clots coming out. Could you imagine if you make out with somebody, you're like, "What is this? What is this little crumb in your mouth?" And it's like, "Oh, that's just some of my bone graft," you know? Russ said, "Don't smoke. I did after having my tooth pulled, and I got dry socket." Well, Russ, you should have known better. You should have known. I know that they say no coffee because um it could irritate the wound. Michelle says, "That's a story for disaster daters. Do it for the plot, Zach. Suck dick?" Yeah, like, I'm gonna s no. No. Ugh. Val says, "You sexy man, Zach, make out artist." I love to make out. I do it all the time. All the time. If I get a little too lit, he said, "You'll probably see me making out with somebody at a bar." I don't go to bars. But, like, it's something well, when I do, I usually end up making out with somebody. Um, Jazz says Jazz wanted to lighten up the mood and let everybody know that she's doing chemo tomorrow. Um, well, Jazz, we love you and we're sending you nothing but the best. Gina with the super chat says, um, oh, Tiffany says, and bone graft comes from cadavers. Yeah. Yeah. So it's somebody else's bone. Imagine you're like, I can't wait to bone tonight. And then you're making out and you end up with somebody else's bone in your mouth. Not the kind of night you were expecting. Gina sent a super chat and Gina says, Zach, you are amazing. Keep up the great commentary and don't let those middle school, low level undergraduates with nasty comments ruin your day. Know that you are loved. Thank you, Gina. That is so sweet of you. Thank you, Gina. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Donna says, vomiting bone graft. I'm dead. Yeah. Are you doing warm water rinses? Yes, warm water rinses and the brushing around, but very gently and don't spit and all the things, you know? Cherish Lynn says, well, I'm glad you got that off your chest. When you're addicted to cigarettes, it's hard at first. Fortunately, I quit 6 years ago. Well, you'll be ready for your next tooth pull. Ariana says, I'm putting my makeup on for work and I'm cackling so hard I effed up my eyeliner. Hashtag worth it. Oh no. Maria said, just signed in. Love me some Zach. Yes. Thanks, guys. Chemo is saving me, so do it. Thank you, Jazz. Speaking of chemo, because I've made me think of my dad. I had a reading with Fem Tarot yesterday. I don't know if you guys follow Fem Tarot on YouTube. I'll probably do a members only bonus episode on Supercast that I'll share with you guys for the fully activated crew. I'll do a special bonus episode where I get into the reading because there was a lot that came through in it that I'm looking forward to. But yes, Jazz, we're sending you all our love. We love having you in the community. I have not popped off on Jimmy Kimmel yet. We just covered the Baldoni news, the breaking Baldoni news about the New York Times now suing Justin Baldoni for damages for their legal costs, and they also want punitive damages to really stick it to them. But let's talk about let's pivot on to Jimmy Kimmel. So it appears Jimmy Kimmel has learned. What did he learn? Did he learn a new lesson? Of course not. Jimmy Kimmel has learned not a damn thing. Okay, so he was just on Colbert. Oh, don't we love the two of them? Two losers in a pod. So on Colbert, Kimmel said, referring to the president, Kimmel said, "That son of a bitch, it's unbelievable. I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't have another president like this again." So this just goes to show that he wasn't genuine in his apology. He didn't mean what he said. He was upset that he got suspended. He was upset that, he got caught hurting people and that he had to deal with the consequences of his actions. But he's not upset about what he said. He's not upset that he hurt and offended or ostracized more than half of the country, right? Or more than half of voters, at least, because let's be clear, more than half of our country voted for the current administration. And despite what media outlets like the New York Times want to convince you, not many of those people are regretting their votes. So that's just kind of the reality of it. And Kimmel's on his high horse because all these people rallied around him and they watched his show for one night, maybe 2 nights, and then they remembered how boring and uninteresting he is. And so him and Colbert decided, let's get together and let's show them that we stand for free speech. You guys are such fucking pussies. You're such fucking pussies, okay? You're not real. You're not genuine. The fact that anybody even believed or bought your apology. And Donna, I'm gonna call you out too, because Donna was like, I think Kimmel did such a great job, and I love Kimmel. She's like, oh, Kimmel. Okay. I called it from the jump. I said, I don't believe it. Because he gave us 1 minute of his time where he pretended to feel badly for the Kirk family. And basically his apology was, I'm sorry you were offended by it. But he didn't even use the words, I'm sorry. He said, my intention was not to make you feel that way. Okay, but what about acknowledging the fact that you did? What about acknowledging the fact that you did split your audience? You did ostracize people, but all the ones that were rubbing one out to Jimmy Kimmel and be like, oh, I love Jimmy Kimmel all of a sudden, Donna says, you jerk. I did not say I love Kimmel. You didn't say you loved Kimmel, but you did defend him. I'll pull up your TikTok. You did kind of be like, I love this. And look at, he's acknowledging. You gave him flowers. And I was resistant to giving him flowers because he took 1 minute to acknowledge it and then went on a 6 to 7 minute rant afterwards about the current administration, which showed me that he learned not a damn thing. There was no reflection. There was no atonement. There was no feeling bad because he felt gassed up by all, the cuckoo crazies that were rubbing one out to him online. Like, we stand with Kimmel. We stand for free speech, when Jimmy Kimmel's never stood for free speech. Jimmy Kimmel's never been about giving people grace and allowing people to apologize. He loved when they canceled Roseanne and fired her from ABC when she wanted to apologize and, make up for what she tweeted, right? She wanted to make up for that. She wanted to apologize for that. And ABC didn't give her that. But they did give Jimmy Kimmel the opportunity to get his show back and give a monologue without not just not apologizing, but he didn't even have to apologize. So, I mean, listen, and I'm not about bullying people into apologies, but an apology and true remorse based off of your actions, I think tells me a lot about you and your character and whether or not I want to continue to support you. I don't think we should bully people into apologies. But was I disappointed that he didn't give a genuine apology? Yes. Did that make me want to support Jimmy Kimmel moving forward? Absolutely not. Redondo Beach said he shouldn't have apologized. Whether you think he should or listen, and that's your prerogative. Whether you think he should or you think that he shouldn't is up to you. I don't think he should have apologized to the current administration, but I do think that there was a large number of people that were hurt and offended and felt ostracized by his comments. Therefore, you can acknowledge that pain that you caused onto people because you're also doing a public service, right? You're opening yourself up to be, a comedian, to bring light and levity into the world. And I don't think he's doing that. I don't think he's bringing light and levity into the world. And we can get into the semantics because Redondo Beach is saying what he said was misunderstood. It's no surprise that the ratings are back to shit, but he never said he was apologizing. Again, I don't think we should force people into apologies, but if he were sincere and if he really did mean those words that he said on his show, an apology would have been nice because there were people that were hurt and offended and felt ostracized by what he said. If those people don't matter to him, that's fine. Don't apologize, but then that doesn't make you a good, virtuous person. So don't go parading around for free speech or, anti the hate from the right or whatever you want to sit on your high horse about. Sorry. Good eye for bone. Don't sit on your high horse with your BS because it's not real. It's not genuine. You showed us exactly who you are. So the people are like, he didn't have anything to apologize for. That's fine. I'm sure many of you that don't think Jimmy Kimmel had anything to apologize for are the same people that were posting about not having any, sadness about the Charlie Kirk being assassinated in front of the whole world. And that's fine. It just shows exactly who you are. MC Highlight says he didn't apologize, but had the audacity to bring up Erica Kirk, the grieving widow, and her forgiveness, hence him seeking forgiveness. It was all for fluff. I agree. He used Erica Kirk in that moment to gain sympathy from people that were already ready to rally around him. They didn't need him or want him to give an apology because then they would have felt like he was buckling and they didn't think that he should buckle. When it's like, here's the thing, we need to get out of this world where, we can put our pride and our ego aside and say, hey, even if, we may not fully understand it, we can still acknowledge that we hurt somebody. We can still acknowledge that our actions had an effect that maybe we didn't have, the intention, but we can still acknowledge that, right? And you can still apologize to Erica and be like, I'm sorry that you lost your husband. I'm sorry that I made a joke. Even if you don't want to apologize to the public, you could at least apologize to Erica because you did use her husband's death for a cheap joke. And yes, it was a cheap joke towards the administration, but you still used Charlie Kirk for your punchline. And this man was just assassinated days before. It lacked tact, it lacked decorum, and him doing his press tour right now with Colbert, again, shows exactly who he is and shows the hypocrisy and the moral superiority of these woke liberals on the left. You just continue to show us exactly who you are. Clowns, phonies, hypocritical. And that's not to everyone. And I know there will be people that watch this that will feel triggered by that. I want to be clear. That's not necessarily a message that's directly to you, but towards these Hollywood elite that want to be the, poster child of what it means to be a good person in defiance of the current administration. When in reality, are you really a good person or are you just a virtue signaling bitch? So that's all I got to say. LCS says, exactly, Zach. We are all different and we can still say sorry. Yeah, you can, Francis says, at the minimum, apologize to the wife and children and family members of Charlie. Yeah, you used this dead man for a punchline because you thought that it was funny. And it was inappropriate, So, tis what it is. Dottie said, Zach's ready to throw hands. Donna came up in here and got me activated again. And did she leave? She's like, let me come and let me light the ember and blow up the Palisades. And then here I am on fire. Listen, it don't take long or very much for me to be ready to throw hands. I try to be like a good, loving person. And then I'm like, let's go. Okay, Keith Urban. Let's talk about him. And then we'll get into the Nicki Minaj. And then we'll get into the Netflix cancellation because people want to cancel Netflix now. What? Okay. Keith Urban. It appears he has a new girlfriend. Ay, 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 mamma mia, oy vey. So there is a woman. Her name is Maggie Baugh. Maggie Baugh? Baugh? I think it's Baugh. And she was performing on stage with Keith Urban, and people believe that this may be the girl that he's been dating since splitting with Nicole Kidman. So I guess he and Maggie have history together, but so there was a song that he had rewritten I guess not rewritten, but he changed the lyrics, and it was a song that was originally about Nicole Kidman, and so Maggie's his utility player, but so he changed the words. The song is about how he'll be your fighter, and he'll fight for you, and he'll be there for you, and save you, and blah, blah, blah. And so the original lyric said, "When they're trying to get you, baby, I'll be the fighter," right? As in, like, I'll protect you. And then in this case, in this performance, he changed the lyrics. And so again, that was a song about Nicole Kidman. And so this was right after Nicole had filed for divorce because he filed and then she filed. But so now he's changing those lyrics on stage to say, "When they try to get you, Maggie, I'll be your guitar player." And then he kept, like, pointing at her and looking at her, and people are like, "What is going on between the 2 of them?" And so everyone was like, a little confused, a little like, "Huh? What's it going on?" You know? You know? Hmm, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But so, I don't do you think that I mean, there appears to be some chemistry if you look at some of the photos online. I mean, if they're touring together and performing together, then I can definitely see that maybe there's some sort of crush, maybe? I don't know. It's a little sus, right? "That's suspicious," as Cardi B would say. "That's suspicious." So, you can weigh in on the comments, let me know if you think Maggie is Keith's new beau. I mean, technically, he's single, so he can kinda go and mess around with whoever, and I'm sure if she wants to get ahead, you know I saw Keith in concert, they had chemistry. You can just see in the videos that they definitely have chemistry, Russ. Definitely. So, I don't know. Gwen says, "I don't know, I'm too cautious after all the Blake Lively fake PR to really believe this, to believe the Keith and Maggie drama." Jazz says, "Just joined the Zack pack. Great day for me. Yay, Jazz. Love you." Polly says, "Heard some blind items say that Nicole has been stepping out for years. Don't know, but the PR tactics lately might be to control the narrative. Just a thought. Always two sides to the story. Maybe." I don't know. I genuinely don't think that it was a cheating thing. I think they just grew apart. Maybe there was like a flirtation or some sort of emotional relationship somewhere, but I think Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman just were growing apart with their careers. He's been touring and making music. She's been out there doing all these shows and, she's been booked and busy. And then I think, the orgasm scene maybe wasn't his favorite to see his wife doing that. And so I think they just grew apart and their connection kind of continued to fizzle. I don't know. To change the lyrics for Nicole to the new girlfriend is kind of juvenile. Yeah. He could have kept the lyrics the same. Like there was no need for him to change them. But it's getting feisty. And speaking of feisty, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. This is Cardi B. I don't know if you guys have a side in Nicki versus Cardi. I personally love them both. I love both of their music, but I do think Nicki Minaj is the queen. Um, Sorry, bone graft. That's what happens when I gets activated. Anybody want to make out with me and eat my bone graft? That's gonna be my pickup line. "You want to taste my bone graft, baby?" That's what I'm gonna use as a pickup line from here on out. "Do you want to taste my bone graft? Yum." Um, but so they're fighting, and I guess it's because Cardi took a jab at Nicki Minaj in her latest album, "Am I the Drama?" And so Nicki began to trash Cardi B's album, and then Cardi accused Nicki of going to a fertility doctor. So I'm going to read you some of their tweets that are going back and forth because it's getting a little feisty, a little feisty, crazy. I'm excited about it. It's crazy. Okay, so Nicki Minaj tweets on X. She puts, "Is I'm the Barbie B and the flop? Is lying about fertility when the queen has never once seen or spoken to it." This is Nicki Minaj. "Has never seen or spoken to a fertility doctor in her life. Is I'm the one sleeping with Trade while hubby effing sweetie and taking my new gooey hole for alimony, not the big gooey hole. Is I'm going to be sued when the queen shows her medical records to the courts. Oh, rock bottom nation, we win again. Desiree, I have your medical records too. I didn't know Nicki or Cardi B's name was Desiree. The lawyer said, we gon' have Barney B homeless within 36 months. Praise God. Lucky we eating cake right now. Barney B, I know you don't know this, but some women plan their pregnancies, you dirty Heineken pussy twat. We don't let guys fuck us while we pregnant for the next trade who got 4 other people pregnant. You see, the devil has come to collect. You sold your soul. You made a pact, but you lost. Now hear this. You have been neutralized in the mighty name of Jesus. Oh, she said Jesus. Every word you speak on me or mine will now curse your enablers more than your dizzy brain could ever fathom. I was pregnant for my first love, got married, and the next year got pregnant for my soulmate. On purpose. You see, Barney, we planned it. Your medical records in the strip club to now look embarrassing, and your father, welp, anyway, you are about to shrivel up and die inside. You called black women monkeys and roaches. Now, one day, people will call your daughter monkeys and roaches. Anyway, I used double the protection in every relationship until I was ready. Double the protection, like 2 Trojans at the same time? See, the difference between me and a hoe, and the difference between a hoe and the queen. She said, album flopped, pussy flopped. Oh, she said her pussy flopped. Never want to fight, outrank you in our own gang. Shut the fuck up. Come fight. Sympathize, baby. Couldn't pull 228,000. Abort mission. And then Nicki tweeted, culture vulture, you ugly too. Not culture vulture, the baby. Did she just cast a spell on him? She cast a spell on her. Nicki cast a spell on Cardi B. She said, Jesus. She said, coming for you. She said, psh. She did voodoo magic. She said, ooh, I'm sent. She's Mary Cosby. And she's like, if you come for me, I'll send Jesus after you. I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know we could say, hey, Jesus, come get this bitch. I didn't know we could do all this time. You know how many bitches I would have called Jesus upon? I just thought we were supposed to let Jesus do Jesus, right? I didn't know we were supposed to conjure Jesus to do voodoo spells on people. I didn't know we could I didn't know we had that type of relationship with Jesus where we're just like, Jesus, handle it. I didn't know we could call Jesus like that. I thought we just give love to Jesus, call on Jesus upon enemies. Yeah. I didn't know we could do that. What's Nicki's song? I don't gotta talk. The Lord defends me. I watched them all fall for going against me. So I just thought that meant like Jesus is going to protect you, right? Like Jesus got you. Jesus got your back, but not like you could summon Jesus and you're like, Jesus, handle it. And then Jesus comes in like Kerry Washington and is like, it's handled. I didn't know all this time I was doing Jesus wrong. Sorry, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I love me, Jesus. Jesus is king. Love to Jesus. No disrespect to Jesus. I just didn't know we could call on Jesus like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. I did not like that Nicki said culture vulture, you ugly too, because culture is Cardi's baby. And then Cardi clapped back and Cardi said, wait, bring that ass here. You talking about my father? My father never been to jail a day in his life. Go get a detective and tell him to run them records. Don't put them dirty ass allegations from your bloodline on mine. Your daddy was a crackhead and your brother was doing things to his stepchild. Not to his stepchild. You got medical records on me? Post them, bitch. You gonna leave me the fuck alone today? Bitch, you wish you could call my daughter ugly. Culture is beautiful, and you know that. Your hate is so deep, dark, and nasty because your son nonverbal because you fucked him up with them drugs. So you jealous of everybody's kids and their happiness. Bitch, where the fuck you stop at? Where the fuck you at? Stop talking. Wow, she said nonverbal. They're coming for the babies, not the babies. That's where we stop. It's a little too low when we come for the babies. Cardi continues. Cardi says, all right, now this the third tweet talking about my pregnancy, like you wasn't going to different fertility doctors because you couldn't reproduce from all them perks scrambling your eggs. Not allegedly. Lord, protect my babies. And then Nicki went off. And Nicki said, Lucian, Elliott, Rico Nation, I promise. Who are Lucian, Elliott, and Rico Nation? I promise you. Are these more voodoo spells? I promise you to tell that dizzy hoe to stand down. I promise you. Barney Dangerous? Bodega Barney? What up? Your sister can get that chest caved in if you pregnant with another monkey or roach right now for entertainment purposes only. Culture you a roach and a monkey like your sister. Nikki says, Cokey B, please don't sniff coke with the baby number 4 or 5. Word to Carlos. Culture a vulture and her mama a crow. So stupid to not see once Wendy ate that crow what happened. They played you to do that hex to yourself, your flop ass heavy tongue hoe. What is a heavy tongue hoe? Do heavy tongues help with blowjobs? I don't know. Nikki says, leaked it once, Barney B started trending. Allegedly, Papa first party over. He got 4 more to go. Let's go, ho. Drop the receipts. Rico Nation. Desiree, you sent Jigga. Man broke, huh? Get this bitch before I get in on y'all families as well. I think you already got in on their families. You called out her daddy. You called out her baby Culture. You said Culture, what? Culture Crow? What did she say? Tonight happens to be the fucking night. And then Cardi says, drop the Addy right now. And don't go tagging the feds and the police like you did 3 months ago, you pussy ass bitch. Shut the fuck up. Pop Bear, I'm sorry you can't speak and banging spoons because your mom couldn't put the drugs down. I'm sorry your mom not even paying attention to you on your own birthday because she's obsessed with dark and spirited hating hoe. I'm so sorry. Trying to call me out to fight because I'm pregnant as fuck. You never have that energy when I see you in person. I seen you at 2 Met Galas and you never have that energy. But where the fuck you at? My blanks is outside right now. Where the fuck y'all at? Bitch, you wish you could call my daughter ugly. Culture is beautiful and you know that. Your hate is so deep, dark, and nasty because your son nonverbal. Oh, we already heard that one. It's crazy, you guys. Like, crazy. I mean, they've been feuding for years. Didn't they get in a fight at one of the Met Galas? What a time. What a time. What a time. Anchors said it's kind of beyond nasty. Kinda. I think we're full on. Oh, Jiggaman is Jay-Z. Brush that dirt off your shoulders. Oh, got it. Not the feds. I know. It's crazy. I think heavy tongue hoe is one with bone crack. Oh my god. What of what Cardi said about all of Nicki's family? I mean, listen, I'm not denying. I think they're both crazy. I think they're both bad. I think, Christina said, if this is real beef, it could get dangerous. Rico Nation. What is Rico Nation? I don't get it. I know Rock Nation. Isn't that like the what is it, the label she's with or something? What is Rico Nation? No, you said you already heard that, but you didn't call Cardi for making fun of autism. Did Cardi make? Oh yeah, Cardi made fun of. Yeah, no. Listen, first of all, just because you're nonverbal doesn't necessarily mean you're autistic. But Rico instead of Rock Nation. Yeah, but I don't know. But why Rico? Rico is Rock rebranded because they're corrupt. Oh, got it. Rico is organized. Oh, duh. We just learned. I mean, we just covered Rico in the Diddy case, but I was like, why? Got it. Thank you for explaining it to me. Ugh. Yes, I knew that I knew Rock Nation was the label or the production company, but I was like, why Rico Nation? Then it put the pieces together. Rico, illegal. Rock Nation, got it. Rico Nation, got it. So, ooh, crazy. What a time to be alive, you guys. I mean, my God. So do we have skin in this game? Are we team Cardi? Are we team Nicki? I feel like they both listen, I like Nicki. I love both of their music, I'm not gonna lie. But I think Nicki is the queen and Cardi is a bit newer to the game. But I think they are both wrong in all of this, and I think this is just crazy. This is just wild. Okay, but let's move on to something a little more wholesome. Dancing with the Stars. So, on Dancing with the Stars, there was so one of the eliminations, the girl from Fifth Harmony, she was eliminated, And I guess Whitney and Danielle Fishel, Topanga, Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she was the one that everybody hated. She's the one that did the TikTok with the baby in the ICU. So she's on Dancing with the Stars, and so is Topanga. And so Whitney and Topanga were like, I guess, cheering after, like, they were excited that they had moved on to the next round. Okay. And so there's a clip that's going around of Whitney and Topanga because I guess they were like super excited. And so, yeah, let's play the clip and then we'll talk about what people are saying, because they're saying that Danielle got mad at Whitney for like cheering during a sad moment.
Then later on tonight, Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Let's watch that back again in slow-mo. So you can see Danielle is talking to Whitney, and Whitney's like, oh my God, yes. And she's excited. And she's like, yay. And then Danielle tells Whitney something, and then Whitney turns, and then her face gets serious. And then she's like, oh, and then she puts her hands together, and she's just like, oh, sad story. Like, oh. So people are saying it's obvious that Danielle told Whitney, like, now is not the time to be cheering. Now is not the time for you to be happy. And then Whitney caught that. And then Whitney caught the camera. And she's like, oh, there's cameras on us. We're supposed to be serious right now. We're supposed to be sad because the Fifth Harmony girl just got eliminated. And then Whitney does prayer hands. And she's like, oh. So I don't know. I think people are being dramatic. I think they were just having a moment. And then like, oh, we have to like pay attention because we're filming the show. But I think Whitney and Danielle were just having a moment. And they were just excited. And they were just like cheering. And they were just living their best life. And then they're like, oh, wait, we're still filming the show. And somebody just got eliminated. And this is so sad. I know there was a report that there's all this drama behind the scenes between the cast members. I don't think any of that is true. I tried to look into it, and I don't believe any of that is true at all. So there we go. Sounds dramatic. Find something real to complain about. I agree, Robin. I definitely agree. Michelle says, file that one under low budget tea. I agree. I'm with you guys. I think that's low budget tea. I don't think there's any drama going on. But what I do, I know people are loving Dylan Efron. He's not a great dancer, but he's got a little like dorky white boy swag to him, which I'm kind of digging. I'm kind of into. And then Robert Irwin. Oh my God. People are like thirsting after Robert because he's like taking his shirt off and doing his dancing and doing all things. And it's like, who fajitas? You know what I mean? I learned that in college. There was this girl. She was a little wacky. Her name was Anna Maritza. And I remember she was a little out there. And I remember she would say that. She'd be like, "Oh, fajitas. Oh, fajitas." And I was like, it was just so random and so funny. And so I've ever since then said, "Oh, fajitas." Is he hot like his brother Dylan Efron? Yeah, I actually think Dylan is cuter than Zack. Zack's more like jacked and beef, but Zack I feel like is more like yeah, you know, tis what tis. You know what I'm saying. So, bada boom, bada bang. Bada boom. Bro, Dylan is not good, but his partner is truly mesmerizing. Yeah, Dylan's not good at dancing, but he's a cutie. That's why Dylan is cute, like boy next door. Yeah, he's got that like cute, dorky-ish boy next door vibe. Robert knows how to get the votes. He wants to win like his sister did. Yeah, he's a great dancer of him, though. Donna showed a video of him practicing. His hips don't lie. Irwin, yeah. Apparently, Zac Efron is a yacht boy now. Is that true? What do you mean? Like, rich men take him on yachts to do things, and he lives that yacht boy life? That's why he's always traveling? I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But Robert is a cutie. Let's talk about Netflix. But I also wanted to give a quick shout out to my trainer, because a lot of people have been posting. I'm not paid to say this, but he did ask me if I would be willing to share on my Instagram. I did share on Instagram, but I also wanted to share here too, because I know people have been watching my gym journey this summer, and I've been on a gym journey this summer. Again, I'm not paid to say this. I'm just sharing this because I've been working out. and my body has changed a lot over the summer. And listen, it's been a very challenging summer. I've been on tour. Jeff passed. I'm getting like dental surgery. So working out and getting my macros in has been challenging, but I'm really excited because I've been working with this trainer. His name is Will Vargas, and he's looking for new clients. Again, I'm not paid to say this. I just wanted to shout him out because I've been really happy with the results. But so if you guys want to get in good shape, you can DM Will. He's Will Vargas on Instagram. I post on my Instagram stories. It's just something to, if you guys care, cool. If not, don't worry about it. But he's looking to take on some new clients this fall. So you can DM him the word transform. He'll send you all the details. Here's his thing. I will get you in the best shape of your life by the end of the year or your money back. Drop 30 pounds of fat, build up to 12 pounds of lean muscle, create sustainable nutrition plan, boost confidence and energy. You have 24/7 support, guaranteed results. DM the word transform and he'll send you all the details. His Instagram is Will Vargas, WILL Vargas, VARGAS ____. So Zack, you aren't over 35, are you? I'm not over 35. I'm 32, but I've been very happy. That's his specialty, but I've been very happy with the results. And you can see the results. I posted a few of them on Instagram, but like my midsection is tighter, my muscles are coming in. We out here and we build it. Let's go. So just look at LA Trainer put his Instagram here. Just wanted to show him a little love. And he can do virtual training. That trainer is hot. I'll DM him. Yeah, he's hot. Tell him Zack sent you. Okay. Let's talk about Netflix. So people are trying to cancel Netflix right now, like fully cancel Netflix over. I guess some of it has to do with this transgender character that's on a Netflix show. And so it originated, Elon Musk is now calling for the cancellation. There are a number of like right-wing activists that are calling people to cancel their Netflix memberships. And so it's stemming from, I guess, this guy. His name is Hamish Steele. And so Hamish Steele is the creator of this show on Netflix. The show is called Dead End Paranormal Activity. And they're claiming that, this show pushes pro-transgender ideology onto children. They're claiming that the show is being advertised to 7-year-olds. And so the creator of the show is this guy, Hamish. So Elon Musk has been a proponent of canceling them because he's claiming that, for two reasons. One, Netflix made a pledge to increase the number of non-white directors and lead actors that they have on its programs. I know that's been a big talking point about should we DEI? And I understand the benefits of DEI, but I also understand the argument from the other side that's like, well, but people should gain their opportunities based off of merit, not based off of quotas, right? Because then there could potentially be other people that are more qualified or that are more creative or that have better ideas or whatever the case may be. And, we shouldn't prioritize somebody based off of their skin color. We should prioritize them. We should see more than the exterior of what they look like. Right? We should focus on, not the fact that it's a man or a woman or the fact that they're gay or not gay or they're, black or white or Hispanic or Asian or whatever, but we should focus on the quality of the work that they produce, merit-based, right? I agree with merit-based to a degree. I do think that, there are a number of opportunities that can be brought forth in an organic way. But these quota situations and these pledges to we're going to make sure 20% of our staff is this minority, which to me does then allow for, because then you're trying to hit your quota. So then you do allow in people that maybe not as qualified as maybe some other people, but listen, it's a layered and nuanced topic is my point. But so Elon Musk, that was part of the reason why he was cancel Netflix, because they're trying to, I guess he's anti-DEI. But so this guy specifically though, Steele, he posted about Charlie Kirk, and they're claiming that he celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk and pushes pro-trans content onto kids. And that's why Elon Musk and a lot of people on the right are not in support of it. They're calling people to cancel their Netflix subscription for employing this guy in his show, because I guess Steele spoke out against British Prime Minister Keir Starmer about Charlie Kirk's death. I guess the British Prime Minister spoke out in like acknowledging it and condemning violence, and so he like made a kind post about Charlie Kirk's death, and this guy was upset, and so he then went off and he wrote on X, or I don't know if he wrote it. I think he wrote it on Blue Sky. They look similar. But so there was a screenshot that was going around where he said, "Why the F are you trying to comment on this, dickhead? A random Nazi gets shot and it's a public statement." So he's upset that the British Prime Minister decided to acknowledge the death of Charlie Kirk. And so people are upset. They're like, this guy is celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. He's condemning people that are, acknowledging the assassination and condemning political violence. And he has this show that's out here promoting transgender ideology to children. And the show is called Dead End Paranormal Park. It only ran for 2 seasons on Netflix in 2022. And by January of 2023, the show had been canceled. So the show is no longer producing new seasons. Netflix does not employ Hanesh Steele. He doesn't have a relationship with Netflix, to my understanding. Now, I also looked into the show because I wanted to make sure I knew all of the details. And so, like I said, the show, I guess, centered around this character specifically that happens to be transgender. I believe they identify as he, they, this character. And so, yes, it is a cartoon, but my understanding of this cartoon is that it's more of it's not like a My Little Pony, right? It's not a Bob the Builder. It's not a Blue's Clues. It's not a Dora the Explorer. That's a show specifically designed for young children. It's more of like a South Park or a Futurama type show. It's described as a teen comedy, so maybe it's more of like in the realm of PG-13 rather than for young children. So that's a layer of context that I think is important to the conversation as well, that it's targeted, it's a more adult or more mature show rather than for young children, where that's kind of the argument that I'm seeing online is like, oh my God, they're promoting this to young toddlers and children to watch the show that pushes trans ideology. And listen, I believe that parents have every right to protect their children from content that they don't want their children consuming. And personally, I think I talked about this, I don't remember if it was on my show or on Donna's show, that I think we do need to be mindful about trans ideology being pushed on young children that are very impressionable, right? I spoke about how, there are many men and women in the gay, bi, lesbian community that have concerns about some of the trans ideology agendas that are being pushed out there. And I spoke to my own personal experience saying that, like, listen, as a young, boy that was trying to discover my sexuality, and I think those are very formative years in your preteen to teenage years of trying to figure out who you are, what you like, who you like, all of that stuff. I think had I been young and because I was a bit more effeminate, I think there is a very strong chance that I could have fallen into that trans ideology and maybe thought I was trans. And now I can say, as a 32-year-old grown man, I don't believe that I'm a woman. I don't want to become a woman. I have no interest in any of that. Do I have effeminate traits? Sure. Can I be a little ladylike sometimes? Sure. I think that I definitely play into my masculine and my feminine. I feel like I've embraced more of my masculine side as I've gotten older, but I certainly had feminine traits that came out. And I think had I been convinced that because I had feminine traits and embraced those, that then meant that I was supposed to be or am a woman or am a girl, then I think that could absolutely have messed with my head, especially at a young age. Now, I have nothing against trans community. I think if you want to be trans, you absolutely have every right to exist in this world. If you want to change your body, if you want to take hormones, that is totally up to you. You can do whatever you want with your body, right? If that's what feels good and in alignment for you, just like other people want to dye their hair, they want to get a nose job, they want to get a boob job, they want to change things about themselves, you want to get vaginal rejuvenation, a penile implant, whatever you want to do. You want to get, muscle implants, take steroids, your body, your choice, whatever makes you feel good in your body, sure. But I think we need to leave the children out of it. Let the children be children. Let them become who they are. Let them go through their phases of self-discovery. And then once they become adults, then they can make those decisions for themselves. But I believe parents have the rights to protect their children. Now, when it comes to this show specifically and people wanting to cancel Netflix over it, I don't think that this is a show for children. Um, and I haven't seen it. I've only seen like a clip or two, but my understanding is this wasn't a show that was designed for young children. It was designed for either teens that are much older or, young adults, whatever, similar to a South Park or a Futurama, which teenagers still have access to and can watch. I believe it is a parent's responsibility to monitor what their child is consuming. And if there is a show or content that they don't want their children to consume to protect them, then I think that that's absolutely a parent's right. Do I think you need to cancel Netflix altogether? Not necessarily, because I think that there are still some great programs that are on Netflix currently. And again, I'm not about cancel this, cancel that. I'm not about cancel culture. I understand if that's something that you choose to do, great. But also as a parent, it's your responsibility to make sure that what your children are consuming, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's on the internet, or whether you're walking into a grocery store and you're seeing a giant trans flag hanging in a Target, it's your responsibility to teach the values that you instill into your children and to raise them in a world that you're not going to be able to put them in a bubble and protect them from all this stuff, because it's all around. All you can do is try to instill your own values and your own ethics and your own output that I hope is a loving output. And I hope that you're somebody that shows up with active love in this world and that can still love people, even if you disagree with them or even if you don't fully understand their lifestyle. I hope you can still have love and respect for them regardless. And so I think that it is absolutely a parent's right to protect their children from certain messages or narratives that they want to protect them from. But also, you have to be mindful of the fact that you can't keep them in a bubble and never expose them to those things. They're going to be exposed to it. But that's why those are the conversations you need to have at home that are very mindful. Granted, I'm not a parent, and I know parenting is very challenging. Personally, I've wanted to become a parent for some time, and I plan to embark on that journey come 2026. That is something that I've wanted to do, and I'm officially taking those steps come next year. So I've thought a lot about this and like, how would I handle the situation with my own children? And it's tough and it's hard. And I don't think I would allow my children to consume this show, at least not at a young, early age. I would make sure I knew the types of shows and content that my children were watching and consuming, and then I would make those decisions from there, you know? Jess says, I am a parent and it's hard work. I bet. Mom Unscripted says, I'm a Christian. Deep down, I have love for folks and want the best for them. No envy. Yeah. Sweeney says, applies here also. Don't always agree with what you say, but I still love and respect your opinion. Thank you, Sydney. Is there something in that you don't agree with? I'm always open to dialogue. Gwen says, problem is parents don't want to parent nowadays, which is sad. I mean, I think that's a good point. I don't think that that's always the case. I think that sometimes it's not that parents don't want to parent. I think sometimes parents are so overwhelmed with the overstimulation that they have in the world today that they check out as parents. It's not to defend the parents, because obviously the child should still be the priority. And that's obviously something you should be very mindful of before going into that. And that's always my argument when people push back about like gay men or single gay men like myself that would embark on that journey, and they think that it's a selfish decision. I think what I'm doing, where I'm consciously taking efforts and trying to prepare myself to become a parent before I become a parent, and I'm going through all the steps to become a parent rather than just getting knocked up in a bar. I think that it's more responsible the route that I'm going than just, getting pregnant and having a kid and not really wanting it, or just going along with whatever, you know? Brittany says, it is okay to be a mean mom and say no. Yeah. Netflix gets that delete button working for sure for shows. Yeah. But this has dropped Netflix's stock substantially. Like, there's definitely an outcry and an outrage. But let's be clear, this man, I'm assuming he identifies as a man. He looks like a man to me. Hamash Steele, he's not currently employed by Netflix, to my understanding. His show was canceled back in 2022. It only aired 2 seasons. It never got picked up for a 3rd season. So I think that the outrage is a little a little overshot. I understand it. I get where it's coming from, but also at the same time, I think it's been a little overly dramatic, and we're looking for something to be outraged over. Russ says, when my child came out as trans, we called them by their chosen name, but would not let them take any hormones or anything until after 18. I think that that's smart. Listen, you have to encourage your child's expression of self. You have to understand that um, they have a freedom of expression that you have to kind of support to a degree. But I think that that was a really smart and proud daddy moment that you're like, you're not taking any hormones or changing anything in your body until you're at least of an age. I even think 18 is kind of young because the brain isn't fully developed until you're in your 20s. But, I get it. And that's a hard conversation to have. But also, I think the important piece of this conversation too, Russ, is to say, had there not have been so much exposure with this trans ideology, maybe your child may have just identified as gay or lesbian or bi. Think of how many people in high school. I look at so many guys that are gay now, and in high school they thought that they were straight and they were denying being gay, and then they thought that they were bi, and then eventually, as they got more comfortable in their skin later into their 20s, then eventually they came to accept that, you know what, I'm not bi, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm just gay and I like dudes and I like to suck some dick. You know what I mean? So I think that had there not been so much messaging around trans, that maybe, I don't, it's hard because it's hard for me. I don't want to say I don't believe that there are this many trans people in the world, but I do believe that it is heavily influenced. And I think I, as a young gay boy, would have been influenced had this messaging been very strong when I was a child growing up. But I maybe would have really considered that. And that's where I think it's a bit dangerous, is because we're not allowing these kids to express themselves and figure out who they are. We're giving them all these boxes to choose from without really just allowing them to figure out who they are. Tanya says, my nephew started hormones at 13. He's 18 now and is a mess. And that's sad. Like, they're so young, and puberty blockers and hormones, like all of that stuff very much affects you, and a lot of it is irreversible. And I know people want to say, no, it's not. No, you can reverse it. You can reverse. But these are fundamental years of development. Think about a baby that's developing in the womb, right? That's a 9-year process, or sorry, not 9 years. Sorry, that's a 9-month process. And if you wanted to say, you know what, let's just do some hormone blockers while the baby's developing. Let's put that baby on pause for a month and let it sit in the womb on pause. Obviously, this is a very generalized example, but like that would absolutely affect the development of the baby in that 9-month period. If you put a pause on that pregnancy and put artificial hormones, that would absolutely affect the outcome of that pregnancy. You're going to influence that baby's development, that infant's development. And it's the same way with a child growing into adulthood. You're going to affect those fundamental stages. Period. End of story. Desert Mom said, Zack, it also has to do with other kids' shows like Transformers, etc. on Netflix, but parents also have to watch what their kids are watching. That's my point. There's tons of content on Netflix and all these other platforms, on YouTube, whatever. Parents just need to monitor and make sure they're aware of what their kids are watching. Michelle says, on the other hand, we are allowing them to express themselves by showing that there's a whole world of options and a spectrum of queerness out there, not to speak on hormone use, but just exposure. Fair. I don't know. There's a whole lot of expression that you can expose them to that I think you may not necessarily reconcile with personally. And you have to determine what you're willing to expose them to. And sometimes, do you want to expose them to, people that worship Satan? Do you want that to be something that they explore as well? Like, I think there are certain things, obviously, those are very extreme examples, but I'm just saying there are things in this world that I'm sure you don't want your children exposed to. Like, would you want your 12-year-old exposed to prostitution? It's a job. Sex work is real. They can become OnlyFans models if they want to embrace their body, but are you going to expose your 12-year-old to OnlyFans? There are certain things that they're just not mature enough to be exposed to. Prostitution and OnlyFans, no judgment to anybody, right? I love any woman that wants to use her body however she wants, her body, her choice. But is that something you want to expose a 12-year-old to? Well, sweetie, you could technically grow up to be an OnlyFans model and you can sell your body and you can sell pictures of your feet because there are men that will pay for that. And you can embrace your feet and take photos of them and make sure you get pedicures, sweetheart. This is a realm. This is a lane that you can go down if you want to go down this lane of female empowerment. You could absolutely and that's a part of the world, right? And that's something that you can expose them to. You have a full right to expose them to that. But are you going to expose them to that? Or are they too young and immature to understand the nuances and layers of what that means? That's the point that I'm trying to make, that there are certain things that are a little too advanced for them at such a young age. Isn't that the argument homophobes use? Don't expose your child to gay people. It is. Listen, and that's why I'm saying, Russ, there's not a perfect answer to any of this. I'm not saying that I'm right or you're wrong. I'm just saying these are the layers to that conversation. It's not as simple as like, well, we're just exposing them to the world, because then it's like, well, but there are parts, and that's where it comes down to you as a parent. What do you as a parent feel is a valuable and considerable thing to expose your child to at certain ages? You know? That's that's your own prerogative based off of what you decide in your own household. I can't tell you what's appropriate or what's not appropriate. I'm just saying that those arguments can take you down several different, lanes, and I can't tell you what to do as a dad the same way I would expect nobody else to tell me what to do as a dad, unless I'm asking for your advice and I'm open to listening and, taking your wisdom with a grain of salt. But, it just means that whatever my position is, whatever a parent feels is best for their child should be supported, you know? So, you know, Christina says these are the conversations we should all be having. And I think it's okay, And Pam says, let kids be kids, don't let them grow up too fast. Yeah. And listen, again, it all comes down to what you feel is the best decision to make for your household. Christina says if there's a trans person in the neighborhood, they should be able to get to know them, and not the same. It's not the same as OnlyFans. I mean, but it can be, right? It can be. What if there's an OnlyFans model that lives next door? Would you be like, yeah, girlfriend, come over and babysit my kids? And if they have questions about what it's like to be an OnlyFans model, are you going to think that's an appropriate conversation for them to have with your 7-year-old that they're babysitting? Again, layers to the conversation, right? It's not as simple. Like, yes, trans people exist in this world, but so do, a number of other types of people. Or if, the 17-year-old across the street loves to worship Satan and has, shirts that say that, yeah, you can expose them to him. And he's a person walking down the street all around the world, and he's your neighbor, and you should absolutely have respect and say hello to him and whatnot. But is that, do you then want to be like, yeah, you want to go play with him and hang out with him for the day and, watch what he's watching? There are just certain things. My point is, there are just certain things that you may not want to expose your children to until they're maybe a bit older and more mature, you know? Ooh, maybe this is why some kids identify as cats. They were exposed to a pet store. Listen, I don't think it's that I mean, I think that exposure to cats is a layer of that, but there's also an ideology that other people express. And because they express that ideology, um, then and I guess that's the point, right? There's one thing to expose them to these types of people in the world, but it's another thing to then give them access to learning that ideology. And this is where it comes down to, should trans be taught in schools, or should trans be taught in different TV shows? Like, there's a fine line between exposure and pushing an ideology onto someone. And I think that's where, as a parent, you have to navigate what that line is. Yeah. If you have a trans person in your family, then they, would need to know that person, but you don't have to explain everything. Very true. I think that's a great point, Pam. You can expose them, but there's a level of exposure you need to be mindful of, similar to like Christian families that expose them to gay family members that are married and be like, oh yeah, he's, that's his husband and they love each other. And there are just certain things that children don't fully understand. And as they get older, you can have those more in-depth conversations. Is it an ideology or just the way the person exists in the world? That depends. as a Christian, they exist in the world as, a God-fearing person that loves Jesus, but there's certain Christian values that people want to erase from certain TV shows or certain messaging because they don't want those Christian values being imposed on other people. So that's where it comes. A Christian, somebody that identifies as Christian is just the way somebody exists in this world. They're a God-fearing man or woman. They love Jesus. They say not of this world, that's written on their shirt or that's a symbol on their keys or that's written on the back of their car. They're just existing in this world as God-fearing people that read the Bible. And then there's Bible thumping, right? There are people that try to push the message of Jesus down your throat and say, you need to love Jesus or you're going to hell. And that's where you come down. Do I want to expose my kids to this person because they're a Christian? Or do I want to expose my kids to this person who happens to be Christian, but also happens to be a dogmatic preacher? And you have to factor in the fact that children are very impressionable. Good points that people are making. I'm actually really glad that you guys are challenging me in this way because I like this conversation because then it does bring us to that middle ground and that nuance. Vanna says, my friends and I were talking about our childhood, and I mentioned that I had an absurd moment of Cabbage Patch dolls and pound puppies. So by definition, you can assume that I'd have a lot of kids or dogs. Yeah. I mean, and again, you know your child and only you know what's dog is what manifested. Dogs is what manifested. Good for you. Yeah. Jane says, what religion can be toxic. Toxic is a subjective term, and only a parent can decide what toxic is. Russ says exactly. It's a respectful conversation. I agree. I like that we're having a respectful conversation rather than people fighting in the live chat or fighting in the comments and going back and forth. Like, I think people are making very good, good counter arguments or really good points. People in religion can and have proven to be toxic. Right. And I think people that are trans can also be proven to be toxic as well. We can still love and tolerate and accept people and also understand that there are some people that really want to shove their ideology, be it with the Bible or be it with, trans ideology, that I think that they can be forced down a person that's very impressionable. And then, how do we navigate that? Toxic is subjective. Absolutely. Everyone join the membership so we can do this over Zoom. That would be okay. Yes, guys. We will be doing a members only Zoom this Sunday. We do our Zooms on Sunday. So Sunday, October 5th will be our next Zoom. So stay tuned for the link. You should get a notification. Be sure to check Supercast. Supercast is a website, but be sure to check Supercast for all the latest info when it comes to No Filter All Access. Here, I'll pull up the site for you. Have maybe less than 24 hours to sign up. So I suggest you sign up today for No Filter All Access. Go right now. We'll have our next members only Zoom. I've extended the founders price. So if you want to get the founders price, you can get it right now for the next 6 months. Sign up. You'll get ad-free episodes, monthly live stream at the beginning of the month. Usually it's the first Sunday of every month is the plan. You'll get bonus episodes. I'll do a bonus episode on my reading with Fem Tarot. Here's so many of the episodes that are available now. You can access all of the regular daily episodes are available there, ad-free, so you won't get ads on them. Are we also on the Zoom call? It's kind of crazy having 100 people on screen. Only the ones that want to be on screen. Usually it's only a few people that are comfortable being on screen. Sharon says, no filter all access. Now you are forcing me to learn something new. Exposure. This is my ideology that I'm putting onto you, and that's to sign up for Supercast. So we'll have a Zoom this Sunday, so you can have your little cocky ready. Let's get it. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Sign up for No Filter All Access. Lock in that member savings. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts should you feel so inclined. Hit the like button. Subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't done so yet. We've lost a little bit of our audience, but I know it's building right back. Lizzie says, I joined but haven't been on it yet. Well, you better get on it. Get on it, girlfriend. But I will post the link on Supercast, so you'll get a post And if you have your email notifications on, you'll get an email. So make sure you have all your notifications on, or just make sure you're checking the Supercast website to see if there are any new updates on there. Love you guys. Appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow, October 3rd. That's Taylor Swift Day. That's when our album drops. We'll, I'm sure, have a lot to get into there. The link is in the description below if you want to join. Rest said joining is the first step. Yep. If you want to join my ideology, no filter, all access. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Ciao for now. Bye.